Hey guys, thought I'd do a quick tutorial today on how to create a cone, a 3D cone shape out of a triangular drawing. It's one of the challenges that I had myself recently, and I realized that maybe other people are having some of the same issues. So I thought I'd throw together a quick, hopefully a quick video tutorial on the topic. So the goal is to end up with a cone like this, right? That you can use as a template to create something that has a cone shape. So one of my recent projects is this castle that I built that needs a top. It needs a roof, and I thought maybe a conical roof. I kind of drew this on paper. A conical roof would look the best for this. So I went through several renditions. I started off making a mock-up out of wood, and I wasn't crazy about the shape of that. Then I decided maybe I'll do a witch hat type shape, so I started creating a mold from aluminum foil that I could use for clay, to make a clay. I wasn't thrilled with that shape, and finally I just ended up with just a basic cone shape. So this is what I finally ended up making out of clay using one of these templates that I'm about to show you. It's not perfect, but it's gonna give me that whimsical kind of a look that I'm going for my castle. Let's see if I can put this together for you and show you kind of what I'm looking at right there. Okay, so in order to get there though, I had to do some stuff on paper. So let's get to that. Now, visualize a cone. All right, let's take this cone. The bottom of the cone is a circle. There's usually some kind of small circle at the top that you're playing with, unless you pull it to a point. But even then, there's a point. And then if you visualize coming from that point straight through the center of this cone will be an invisible vertical line, right? That's the center point. Well, when you draw it on paper, you draw a triangle and you draw that line down the center. And that's your invisible center line, more or less, if you're trying to visualize the cone. Now, later on in the process, that line will become a seam that goes up the center of your cone, so you can cut it. And then, but for now, I'm just asking you to visualize a little bit. The round part of the opening is a circle. So the circle, there's a few terms we need to get straight first. It's a circumference. Okay? So that term is the circumference when you go all the way around the edge of the circle. If you draw a line from one side of the circle to the exact opposite side of the circle, that length of that line is called the diameter. And if you take that and break it in half from the center point to one edge of the circle, it's called a radius. Okay, now if you translate that to a triangle, this bottom edge, remember, this bottom edge is the bottom edge of your cone in a flat shape. Okay, so that means that that's your diameter. And then half of that is your radius. Okay, so that's kind of, if I throw these terms out there, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So now let's get to the real. There are 3 techniques that I'm going to show you. I'm sure there's other techniques, but I'm just going to show you 3 techniques. 2 really simple techniques, and then the one I ended up doing, which is a bit harder, but it got the job done. All right, so this is like the most simple one, this one right here. You draw your triangle, you divide your triangle in half this way, so that you get this diagonal line. That's kind of what you're after. You're after this diagonal line here. Okay, and you're going to take your, so let me draw a triangle for you fresh so I can cut it out and not be upset that I ruined my grid paper. All right, so let's take this triangle. Doesn't have to be neat because we're just going to cut it out, right? So I'm going to take this triangle, and this is what we're working with. This point and this point. Okay? So we're going to take a compass and open it up to the length of that diagonal side. All right, once you got it, you're just going to draw a circle from that point all the way back. That's all you're doing is drawing a circle. Now at this point, if you want, you can draw a small circle here in the middle. If you have an opening at the top, you can draw that in. Okay. Grab your handy dandy scissors. And I'm going to cut this out. Oops. A little neater than me though. That was a little bit overzealous. But anyway. Alright, let's see. That's a little better. I am not the greatest with scissors, so this is, you know, this is just to give you an idea. And really, if I wanted to be cleaner with this, I'd take my time and use an X-Acto blade. Let's bring it on home. And we're going to cut up the center line to give us something to work with. And while we're here, let's cut out this little circle. Again, if you're doing this, you're going to do it slow. You're going to use an X-Acto blade or go slow with your scissors. I have no patience for scissors. Okay. So, now you have like a disc with a hole in the middle and a slit up the side. And all you're doing is just forming it into whatever shape you want it to be. However big or small, you can overlap it in whatever way you like. And we'll just do that right there. That looks good. Okay. So now you have a cone. If you want it to be steeper, you're just gonna, you'll pull the sides in more. But there you go. That's the basics for that one. Really simple, right? Took me a couple of minutes to do that. That's the easiest one. Now let's move on to the next one, which is still an easy technique. But it uses a little bit more of the compass and uses a little bit more geometry, I guess, right? So the idea for this one is to take your triangle and cut it in half down the middle. And then you're going to use the length of this side first and then the length of this side to draw an arc that you're then going to cut out and mold into a cone. So let's do that. Maybe let's do this a little bit neater. Let's see. I'll just use, oh, I got it. You know, put all my stuff here to make it easy for me. And then I forget where everything is. No, I just realized. Let's do that. Let's work over here because I need some space to work. So keep that in mind when you're doing this technique, that you're going to need some space off to the side of your triangle to work. All right, so there's like half of our triangle. Let's pretend the rest of it was over here somewhere, right? This is half of our triangle. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open our compass from the distance from here to here on the side, right? Let's get that open. Okay, so then we got our compass. Somewhere down towards the bottom, we're gonna put the pointy point of the pointy point. Yeah, I love that word. Down on one side of your triangle, just somewhere down towards the bottom. It'll give you some space to work with. All right, and you're gonna take your compass and you're just gonna draw an arc, like a half circle. Okay, and once you have that, mark that spot. And you're going to create the one edge of your, with what will be your cone, by connecting this midpoint to an end point on your arc. Okay? The next step is to open your compass to the radius. Remember that term I used? It's half the diameter. Okay, and you're going to put that point up here on the end where you just connected the line, and then you're going to make a tick mark along the arc. Move the point down one. Hopefully I'm still in frame. I get a little sloppy when I work. Make another tick mark there. Move down. You're going to make 6 of these. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then let's just pretend we got 6 over here, okay? And then we're going to connect this with this. So I'm just going to okay. And this then, just create your hole in the center. I'm just going to freehand that. And then you're going to cut this out, this shape out, and cut out your hole, and then you'll do the same thing. You'll fit it together. So let's do this and see if I don't massacre this again. I get a little crazy with the scissors sometimes. And you know, if this is your project, you're gonna, you know, what you're using it for, you're gonna want to take your time. It's not, you know, the more more precise it is, the easier it's going to be to fit it together. Now, I didn't try this technique myself, but it works. It works a charm. Look, we got it. And a little admission there. This is the first time I tried that technique. I just tried that technique. I did the other couple, but I didn't do this one. So I'm glad it worked, right? But, yep, look. Nice cone shape. Okay, so that's that one. Now, here's the one I made that I did already. So I'm not going to be cutting anything out for this one. I'm just going to show you the template that I used. A little more complicated, because of course I have to make my life complicated, right? I can't do simple things. For this one, you start out with your triangle. You're not dividing it in half. You're using a full triangle. You're going to need a protractor. Handy dandy protractor, okay, to do this one. Now, the reason why is because you need to find this angle at the top, because you're going to take this triangle and you're going to draw the same exact triangle with the same exact measurements another 2 times next to it, okay? And then that will give you a faceted sort of angle from which you can draw yourself an arc. So that's where we're going with this. So if you draw your triangle, the first thing you need to do is figure out what this angle is. So you're going to line up the point of your triangle with the hole in your protractor. And then you're just going to see, now you can either measure it this way, 60, or you can look at it this way on the outer band, 60. Either way, it's 60 degrees, right? Now, 60 degrees, that means these 2 triangles also need to be 60 degrees if they're going to match this one, and if you're going to get your proper arc. Okay, so in order to get this 60 degrees and the line, you need to take your protractor and line it up, move it over to this line here, line this line in the protractor. The hole in the protractor goes up at the point of the triangle. The edge of the triangle lines up with this line on your protractor. Okay? And then you can get your 60 degrees. So here's 60 degrees here. Okay? And then you just draw a line from this point, just kind of draw it through. You'll figure out where on this line later. Now that we will have, let me darken that so you could see what I'm working with here. Okay, now that we have these 2 lines, oops. Okay, now we need one more to get the 3rd triangle. All right, so we're going to line up the corner of the triangle. This line now has to line up, so we jumped from here to here to here, and we're going to get, help if I have this the right way, right? Make sure it's the right way up. And we're going to get our 60 degrees here, okay? And we can draw that so you can see. We're just going to draw it through. All right, now let's measure this. So this bottom diameter, remember, because it's the whole side of the whole width between one end to the other of the cone or triangle circle. Okay, so it's 3 inches. And this side angle, I've measured it, and it's just shy of 3 inches. It's like 1 line, 1/16 less. So we're going to take a ruler, and we're just going to measure that measurement, which I already did. It's roughly here. And then over here again, roughly here, right? And then once we have those points, then it's a connect the dot. So you just connect this side and this side, and then you'll have your three sides and this line here, as you'll notice it's like a half circle. Okay, so you'll have your three sides, and these are all three the same angle. They're all 60 degrees. They're all 3-inch lines here, and then you've measured this to be, you know, mine is a little bit less than 3 inches here. Okay, they're all exactly the same, is my point. That's important. Now you're going to open up your protractor. No, not your protractor, your compass. I get used to saying, I don't use a protractor very often, let's put it that way. But when I do, and I'm using both, I get myself all confused with the terms, but you know, I know what they are. So anyway, you're putting your point at the point of your triangle, and then your pencil mark, of course, where you want to draw your arc to make it smooth. And you can actually just okay, and if you cut a hole in the center, I'm freehanding this, but if you put a hole in the center, you can cut this out. You cut here, and you do the same thing we just did with this one. And let me show you my pattern, because this is what I did before I realized that I had two other much more simple ways of doing it, because I like to do everything complicated. So this was the template that I used. I drew this to scale, and you see where my triangles are. I had a peak triangle, and there's 3 of them, and you can see my lines where I measured out my triangle, and then I took my compass and I made my arc, and then I cut it out. So it became the mold for this clay peak that I showed you in the beginning. And I will show you, I don't have it on hand now, but I'll show you. So it became the mold for my clay. Actually, what I did was I took this, I opened it up, and I put it on, oops. I put it on clay. I rolled out some air dry clay, rolled it flat to the thickness that I wanted. I laid this on the clay, and then I just took a sharp object and cut around it to get the shape that I wanted to create the clay piece that I wanted. So, and then it was just a matter of taking that clay mold, that flat clay mold, and then wrapping it and sealing it on either side. But there you go. There's 3 simple ways for you to do to make a cone. This one was more complicated, but still not that hard to do. It's just, you got to remember the steps. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm going to be doing a lot more behind the scenes kind of stuff. Some of it I may put on strictly on Patreon for now, and some of it I'll be sharing on YouTube. But this is the beginning of a whole bunch of projects I'm working on. I'm working on a bunch of fairy houses, and I'm using clay, and I'm using molds, and I'm doing roof shingles, and I'm doing door details and window details. And so as I come across something that I think is important for you, like some kind of DIY tip that I can share with you, I'm trying to do that and try to remember to do that now. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this, and yeah, happy drawing. One more thing I wanted to add, please, like, if you enjoy these kinds of things, drawing tutorials, DIY tutorials, please like and subscribe for YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, drop me a comment. That all helps push. I'm almost there, guys. I'm almost to the point where I can monetize my channel. Thank you so much for everybody that's been subscribing and joining and commenting. It's really helping me, and I'm really looking forward to being able to finally monetize my channel. So let's keep it going. And thank you so much for everybody that's been there already. If you're not already aware, I have a Patreon page that is new. So there's not a lot on it, but there is the beginnings of some really, really cool stuff that I'm doing that I'm not necessarily, some of which I'm sharing on YouTube and some of which is going to be strictly on Patreon. It's only $4 a month. If you can join, I'm doing some really, I'm trying to use that as a platform to do more in-depth kind of things. More detail-oriented kind of things, maybe things that relate to historical references of things when it comes to like Celtic knots, things like that. So head on over there, and you can join as a free member at first, so you can get a feel for what I'm doing, and then join me later as a paid member if that's your, because I'm putting free and paid videos over there right now. So please head on over there and check it out. I need all the support I can get to be able to keep doing this, and that's the honest truth. If I want to be able to keep doing this, I need your support, right? So thank you everybody that's been supporting me so far, and happy drawing.